you like me to?
Yes, please
We're gonna
do.
lose a lot of people.
Sing us a little ditty.
No. Boy, I'm getting all these text messages from you guys. Look at that. I just got them now. No, weird.
Yay.
Good timing.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, we are live. Happy Wednesday night, gentlemen. Hope you're well and hope everyone else is well out there. Also, guys, what's new with you?
Hump day.
It's true.
Happy Wednesday night, gentlemen. Hope you're well. And hope
Uh-oh.
That's not me.
there also.
That's you.
No, I got it. It was me.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry. I was trying to figure it out at first. I'm like, what is that? And then I'm like, oh my God, it's my other screen. Whoops.
Oh, that's
I'm a
funny.
little rusty at this, you know?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, let's do take two.
Yeah, right?
There you go. Start over.
Hey.
Yeah. Hello, Gun Nation.
How are you guys?
Living
Great.
the dream,
I'm
sir.
celebrating my May Day by burning cars and tires in the streets and wanting socialism. Isn't that awesome?
That's fantastic.
May Day, baby.
Jeez.
Yeah, and I've been seeing a bunch of memes, people delivering guns or needing to deliver guns to Venezuela. So I guess y'all have been seeing that too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Whew.
Pretty crazy.
Good stuff.
Crazy stuff.
It's gonna be World War III. We're gonna be going to Venezuela.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Well, we're gonna be unarmed in New York, so it's gonna be up to you guys to help out there.
Yeah, right.
Y'all will be armed with shovels so you can dig up your guns when stuff really goes bad.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see all these friendly faces out in the crowd. Well, what's new in the gun universe with you guys? Anything new? Anything exciting going on?
Big J.
Go ahead.
there you go.
Go ahead.
So I actually got a text today earlier from Steve Lemieux, and he was bragging that Caracol just sent him his brand new Caracol because he had one, had a lot of issues with it, and they had promised that they would send him a new one. So they actually lived up to that, which I think is totally dope as far as I know. So I think it was the OD green one, and if he's on here, hopefully he can tell us, but it looked OD green. The thing is friggin' awesome, man. I want one of those guns so damn bad. I don't care if it doesn't have the best trigger or whatever, but it looks so awesome. And so he was going to shoot it today. So he sent me a video, but I wasn't able to get it. So I'm hoping he'll resend it to me or something so I can see what his thoughts are. But he said that the texturing on the grip felt better. The mag release was better. But he didn't really mention the trigger or anything, but you know, he seemed pretty happy. So I really am hopeful that I can get my hands on one of those because to me, that is one of those sleeper guns that I've been talking about. I absolutely 100% want to get one. So hopefully that'll happen. Got a couple other pistols on the way, but I'm just waiting because they're in, you know, obviously in jail still from the judges. So I'm excited about that because that'll allow me to create new content, which I haven't been doing for a while.
Will you are you allowed to share what those are?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be getting the APX Centurion, which I'm really excited for. I like the size of it. I really think that's kind of the Goldilocks APX, at least for me. Perfect size in regards to what I would be looking for. I actually am going to be getting the cousin to this one, which is this is obviously the 48, but I am getting the 43X. So I'm waiting for that to come in. Well, it's in. I just got to wait for my permission slip to get it. And I'm also going to be hopefully getting the Shield 2.0 4-inch very soon as well. So
cool.
Looking forward to it.
Well, just send me that 48 and I can cut the end off of it for you and you'll have a 43X.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, I like the 48. I've been going back and forth with the gun because I'm not really sure why I'm not carrying it as much as I should be. You know, I know that a lot of people were saying, oh, this is going to be the perfect fit and everything else. But honestly, I've been carrying the 19 more. I just started carrying the P10, so I've been carrying that more. I just don't know where this fits yet. I can't figure that out yet. So I don't know. I don't know where it's going to be in the next few months. But I do definitely want to see if it's better than the 43X. I think I might like that 43X a little bit better because of that balance that you feel on it, as like on the 19X. So we'll see how it plays out. I don't know yet.
Cool.
Yeah. I'll actually be really interested to hear what you think about the Shield, but that against the 48 because I'm having some I'm going back and forth on them, to be honest with you.
Really?
And I'm not sure which one I like better. I'm a huge fan of the Shield,
Right.
but I just like you made a great point. The balance, like on the 43X or on the regular Shield,
Right.
the 19X, I think they got it right with that. And I think when you add that extra, whatever, inch or maybe almost an inch, to the front of it, and you're not beefing up the grip or anything like that, it feels different.
That's what she said.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the shield looks good. I think the one downside with the shield, though, of course, is going to be the capacity versus like a 48, because I'm assuming that shield 2.0 with the 4-inch is more like the 48 size wise. Again, I don't know. I haven't had it in hand yet. I just said, screw it, I want to get the shield again, so why not? But I think it's going to be interesting to see what this thing does with that shield, comparatively speaking, because you're carrying more rounds, even though you can get an extension on the shield,
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I made a point of that in the video that I put out last weekend, 2 weekends ago, whatever it was. I guess maybe it was last weekend. And yeah, there's a significant difference when you're putting that 7-round magazine in the shield versus the 48. Sure. There is a big difference. And then it comes down to that balance, I think. And I think that kind of threw me off. And I'll be curious to know what you think about those sights too.
Okay. Yeah, because it's a fiber optics. That's right. And I know you didn't like them.
Couldn't stand them. Okay, I really can't stand them at all.
Are you just not? And again, you remind me. So is it because you're just getting too much color, or is it? What do you think is the real turnoff on them?
Yeah, when I would start to shoot faster, and I like to shoot fast, even though I probably shouldn't do it anymore. I'm still doing it. My eyes had a hard time centering in on the right side. I'm used to either having 3 white dots or a fiber optic or a high def, or something that usually calls more attention to the front or is a little bit less noisy all the way around. And I had a difficult time being able to center in on the right bead. I think I just occasionally I would notice a shot that was a little wild, even if my grip happened to be okay for that round or whatever it was. And I'm sure it was the sights. My eyes just didn't know where to go.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of those sights either, with the red in the back and the green in the front. If you could find them, I would put black fiber in the rear, or I would just take, like black fingernail polish and just blob those things out, But yeah, it's just too much noise there. I prefer a blacked out rear anyway. But yeah, and I've got the the new P09 that all gussied up and got the carry optics on it, so I'm excited about shooting that, and I'll do that this weekend. That's kind of what I've got, and then I've got some more gear stuff to go over, but that's kind of what's going on with me.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, so we have had a couple of questions. 17 one was to you. Did you stay for the whole, I'm assuming, Yankee Marshal Forged for Freedom or whatever it is chat?
I did start watching it, and like in traditional Yankee Marshal style, it went off on some weird ass tangents. So I was like, I wanted to see what he had to say, and he didn't spend a lot of time saying anything. So there's only so much you can take. So I watched a little bit of it. Obviously I read the article about, what Forged from Freedom had stated about Iraq veteran 8888. And everybody has their opinion. Everybody has their opinion of what really happened. And some people are saying that, Eric is lying, or Forged for Freedom is lying, whatever. It is what it is. I don't think anybody would ever say they didn't believe it. I would believe it. Is it right or wrong? That's for you to decide. It's not for me to tell you. But yeah, it was interesting because I was wanting to hear a bombshell, and it didn't happen, at least not that I saw. So if you guys know any different, let me know.
So I have a stupid question because I haven't been paying very much attention, fairly busy. And maybe you don't want to talk about it on this. I don't know. So stop. It's totally cool if you don't.
I don't care, man. I'll talk about anything.
All right. So what is going on? I've not been paying attention to it. What is the deal?
So basically what had happened, I guess there was an arrangement between whatever the hell his name is, Iraq veteran 8888, and Forged for Freedom. So apparently, according to the owner of Forged for Freedom, Eric had approached him saying that he was having some financial issues, that his those man cans, whatever they're called, were not generating a lot of revenue for him. So he went to Forged for Freedom, talked about it. So they came up with a game plan, a business plan that would help him raise more money. And, and then something came up about him not taking money for any kind of reviews and all that other stuff. And then come to find out, IV88 had used Forged for Freedom as part of his negotiating team with companies. And that's when the whole business with Olight came out, saying that they paid him, I think, $6,000 for 4 videos to do Olight videos. So, of course, and then, of course, when the agreement was to be two-sided, and Fortune Freedom had lived to their, or I guess lived up to their end of the agreement when it was time for Eric and IV88 and his whatever his brand to do the same. He did not reciprocate. So, you know, they reached out to him several times, and then eventually they got a letter from Eric's lawyer saying to basically cease and desist. And that's where it all fell apart. So again, two different stories. Who knows what the hell the truth is? As I always say, Eric's got his truth, Fortune Freedom has their truth, and somewhere in the middle is probably the real truth. And, you know, whatever that is, we will never be privy to.
Yeah, supposedly it was done on a handshake, and they didn't sign an actual contract because he trusted him, and it was done on a handshake, and then he didn't live up to that end of it, and then everything just fell apart. So
could you imagine getting paid $6 grand for an old video?
Wow,
oh my God, that's insane. Like, what can you do in that video? Here's my light. Look how bright it is.
Yeah.
I mean, let me burn my retinas out. You know, I mean, what are you going to do that's going to make that worth $6,000? That's just friggin' insane.
I guess they were just wanting to get, you know, a lot of publicity off of it because of the viewership. But
maybe that's why that guy Rain doesn't work for them anymore.
Yeah.
He probably came up with that contract. Holy shit.
Who knows?
Well, it's funny, and several people have been talking. Scott Smith was saying 6,000 per video. Josh Benware saying nothing happened with Yankee. It was between Sam and Eric. Stephen Ware saying 6,000 per. Crazy. Pistol Pete saying, I love Olight. I'll do 4 videos. I have 3 subs. That's fantastic. So it's interesting, and obviously it's more drama, it's more fluff and crap that we don't need, and whatever arrangements that people make with companies is entirely up to them, I guess. Well, how would you feel? I mean, I got to be honest with you. How would you feel about a company giving you $6,000 like Olight? So essentially it's a flashlight, right? So giving you $6,000 for a review. Well, how could you not have that somehow permeate into your video a little bit, where it's so over the top and this is the greatest thing that's ever existed, everything? I mean, people would read right through it.
You would think so. Yeah. I mean,
you know, unless you're taking it off on a plane and you're throwing it off the plane and the thing hits the ground and you're there to see what happens to it. I mean, to me, that is just an ungodly amount to do a flashlight video. At the end of the day, it's a goddamn flashlight.
Yep.
And you're getting paid $6 grand. So, I mean, you know, but again, what does it all mean at the end of the day? I think if anybody was surprised by that, you're not living in reality. That's my opinion on it. And whether that's right or wrong, whether I'm judging or whatever, honestly, I don't care. You know, I don't give 2 craps about what they do. If that's what they want to do, fine. Don't bother me with it. Don't affect me with it. And I'm okay. It's like anything else. Whatever your beliefs are, you know what? Those are your beliefs. If you have them, great. Leave me out of it. I have my own beliefs, and I just want to live in peace. Unless, of course, you do something to me, and then it's on. But you know, one of the other things I thought was interesting, and I don't know if you guys caught this at all, but I guess Hank Strange got himself in a bit of a beef or tizzy with TGC, the Gun Collective, and all the guys on that whatever you want to call it panel at NRAM. And I guess it was because he basically called them out on the lack of diversity of the panel, because basically it was all a bunch of white guys. And, you know, and I wondered what you guys are thinking about that. You know, like, what's your opinion? Do you think there was that? And again, I don't think it was an intentional snub on any diversity, but I wonder sometimes if we overlook the amount of diversity that's actually supposedly this gun community, because there's a tremendous amount of diversity. There's, you know, male shooters, female shooters, white, Hispanic, black, Asian. You know, I mean, I'll tell you right now, there's a guy who shoots for Walther. That dude is fantastic. He's an Asian guy. He's Chinese, I think, but we don't necessarily see a lot of that. And I wonder if that's what his point was. And I think a lot of people kind of got upset with his implication that maybe they were a part of that idea of that lack of inclusion. So I just wonder what you guys think about that.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I wonder how much thought is put into it, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean, like, you know, if you're trying to put together and assemble people, you send out invites, and whoever says sure, they say sure. I mean, I just wonder how much time John and Adam and the crew spent saying, well, we have to hit certain demographics and everything. I don't know. I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt. And they sent out invites and they thought, who would be some fun people to have a dynamic and different crowd? I mean, there were a couple people on that panel, and I will not say who, but I will say I felt like it was awkward having them there. They weren't bad. They were good guests. They were good. And I like all those channels. I'm trying to be as nice as I can here. But it felt a little awkward. And I could tell they felt a little awkward. So that was different. But I think that went again towards, pulling from different types of media, because all of those channels, if you look at those channels, they're not all doing the same thing. They're all doing radically different things. And so there was certainly diversity in the content type that was represented on the panel, even if it didn't come down to gender or race or anything like that. There was content diversity. And so you're going to get different thoughts and philosophies and that sort of things, assuming that they were, saying what was really on their mind. So to that end, I mean, I think it was fine. I mean, I watched about an hour of it, maybe a little bit less. And I kind of had to turn it off. I was sort of done with it at that point in time.
And even with that, I wonder also in regards to that, how certain individuals claim that they're this amazingly powerful marketing entity with the gun community. So if you're that good at marketing, wouldn't you want to hit all the diverse communities of the gun community, as opposed to just one kind of, not necessarily just type of channel, but just the look? Like there are plenty of gun owners that, kind of resemble my skin complexion. You know what I mean? And they're not gangbangers. They're the average people. They have jobs, and I feel like sometimes that's lost on that. And I'm not trying to make this a race issue, because I honestly, look, I got kids who are Irish and Puerto Rican, man. I got a wife who's Irish. I got nephews who are literally from Africa. They were adopted. So I don't care about your race. I don't care about your color, your creed. Are you a good person? Are you're good to people? That's all I really care about. But at the same time, I mean, if we are going to talk about a community, then we should have more diverse representation, not just, minority reputation or a representation like color of skin, but also of gender. I think that's important too. Like, I'm sick of seeing all the gun bunnies. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not really sick, but at the same time, there are plenty of really good female shooters out there who are knowledgeable about guns, who like guns just as much as all of us. And I really think that also needs to be, shot out there. Now, I know Eric made a video about that and all that other great stuff, but again, it's a very small circle that they pick from. And I think that's kind of where maybe that was, I guess, based out of his comment. But I thought it was a pretty interesting comment he made, and I give him credit because he had the balls to do it. So good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it kind of goes back, to the best person for the job. If you have your and it could be a clique. They could have their own little group that they choose from, and that's who was chosen. If it is, that's it. We don't have a choice in that, because ultimately it's their panel. It's not ours. We don't choose who it is. If they wanted to say, hey, everybody vote for who you want on the panel, that would have been probably different. But, to say, hey, I've got to be inserted here, I don't really buy that. I think it's the best person for the job. If you weren't elected or you weren't put there, you weren't put there. So
it's got to be based on merit,
Yeah.
like a lot of things.
And I mean, if those other, people that were on there have way more subs or have different type of content that they were really going to be talking about, I know, we say guns or guns, but, or maybe there was something about, the way he acts or something they didn't like, I don't know. That's not for us to, not for us to judge. But, and as far as the gun bunny stuff, yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to cars. And I know a lot of people can relate to this. Like, you go to the car shows and, there's girls draped on cars and all this stuff. It kind of goes back to the old theory, sex sells, but man, I would rather go talk to a person, a female, a male, or whomever, that really knows the product, other than somebody that's just holding something and you're like, hey, can you tell me about that? And they're like, well, it's kind of heavy and my arms are tired. It's like, really, I think more people should have testers, whether they be female, male, whomever, to really test out products, rather than just say, look at me and, I'm an Insta-famous star or Instagram star and, I hold a gun.
Wow.
That's so played out.
I want to see like a sock bunny. I want to see like a really hot, steamy commercial for socks.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Sock bunny. Now
I
I
love
want
those socks, baby. You know?
Yeah.
I want to read some comments off here real quick because I want to make sure we're not ignoring everything.
Yeah. Go for it.
But there's some good comments along this regard, and if I don't get to everybody, I apologize. But CW Hunter is saying that panel was a bunch of buddies. Scott was saying the gun collective is a douche anyway. Shooter Industries saying Hank called them out. Wheeled and Well Armed saying, I don't care about the color of a gun channel. Amen to that. Mateo's saying more like they sent notices to those that are their friends or people friends have recommended. I mean, you know, there's always the buddy system. The buddy system always happens. And it's tough to ignore that. Ka is saying, I think the term used was that the panel was more a clique than anything else. So some very interesting observations there. I appreciate that. And by the way, Josh Benware, really appreciate the super chat, buddy. He said, "Hey, one thing that keeps us all humanity together. We are all part Irish. Us Irish get around."
There you go.
Very true. Those dirty Irish.
That's pretty good. Some interesting stuff here. Hurt One saying too many of those guys look at themselves like they are celebrities. John Lovell impressed me as always, though very humble and down to earth.
Yeah, I met him at the NRA in Dallas, and super nice guy. And you know, even Grant Thumb was really nice. Yeah, John Lovell was super nice. And I even met James Yeager, and he was super nice. So don't know him personally, just met him.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think a lot of times the guys who have a lot of I guess real world experience, so to speak, usually are the most humble in regards to that. And I think that would be expected, you know?
Yeah.
You know, because what you consider a bad day of, like, let's say not getting a really hot coffee, you know, their bad day at some point was probably getting a friend of theirs blown up or shot at, or, you know, something like that. So
dodging bullets for sure.
It's all about perspective, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
Ree is saying, and he's saying to 1776, my opinion, why make it public and make it a racist tone only for a way to embarrass and demean? I do not like that insulting people. Do not choose you for your race. Where's the proof?
Right. And that's a good comment. You know, it's an okay comment. There's nothing wrong with that. But I also don't think, if you read the comment, I don't think it was like an insult to them in like per se directed at them. I think it was just an overarching question. You know, like if this is the gun community, where's the diversity in the community? And I don't think there's anything wrong with asking that. It's not like I'm saying Big Johnson's a racist or KS is part of the Klan. You know, that to me is more directed at them. But I think the question should be asked that, are we truly really representing the you know, this word community that is used very, very freely and loosely with people, you know? So I don't know. I think it's a good discussion point. I think it's great that we can have a discussion and not hate each other as a result of it.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's definitely something to look at. But I don't play the race card, man. Everything I've ever gotten, I've earned because of hard work. And that's it, you know? Nothing's ever been handed to me. So,
well, you know, they went through this with sports too, you know, NFL talking about black coaches and things like that and minority coaches. I mean, every business or whatever has gone through this. So, I mean, he was probably just bringing it to their attention. Maybe next time it'll be thought about. And, you know, I'm sure it wasn't done in.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have a couple of questions. Oh, did Big Johnson, you froze. I'm so sorry. You probably weren't done with
I'm
your
here.
He's frozen again. Look at him.
You're clipping a little bit, buddy.
He's got that dial-up going.
He's on the rotary flip phone tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he situates himself.
Out here.
What? We almost had him. All right. I'm going to read a question real quick. Johnny Danger says, "What do you?"
Hang on.
All right. What do you think of the presidential speech at the NRA convention? Seems to me like it was more hoopla to get votes and nothing really to say about gun rights.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, there's been no legislation that's been very beneficial to any of us, really. But I think the whole NRA convention is one big, ginormous scam because of when you think about the thing that, again, and I don't want to make this, you know, because I know it's it's on your channel, so I don't want to make it too political or whatever. But at the same time, I mean, you read all this stuff about Oliver North, leaving, and everybody's like, oh my God, Oliver North, the hero of the NRA. Who does he get paid by?
Right.
It's like, I mean, the whole organization is completely, for the lack of a better word, fucked. You just need to redo it. Get rid of everybody and start over. How do you do that? I don't know. If I knew that, I'd be rich. But at the same time, I mean, the organization is completely screwed up. You have LaPierre, who's, you have Oliver North going after LaPierre, who resigned immediately for whatever. And then all of a sudden he gets unanimously revoted in. I mean, it's a joke. It's a complete joke. And I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's embarrassing, and we're screwing ourselves because the message is getting lost. And the people who are anti-gun are loving it because we're eating our own. And it's pathetic. It really is. But again, somebody mentioned it before. It's about egos. Everybody's ego is bigger than their damn brain right now. So.
Yeah, that's true. And then hopefully y'all can hear me. When Trump was up there talking and, he's like, I've fought for your rights. I haven't given anything away. I was like, okay, bump stocks. I'm like, come on now, don't be going there. But, of course it's at the NRA show. So, like you said, that place is a train wreck too.
Yeah, that's true. Now, to totally change the subject, because I'm sure people would want us.
Yeah, let's get the guns.
So we did have an interesting question from both John Eagle and Hurt One. How did the three of us meet?
A dating website.
Yes. Yeah. Farmer's Almanac.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, we, started doing the chat and we just kind of all met, and that's, reached out, and that's we've just been doing this for what, 2.5 years or 2.25 years, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
How long have we been doing it?
It's been over 2 years, but there's a little bit more to the story than that. I remember when I just first started doing videos, I was watching a lot more videos, had a lot more time to watch other channels and everything. And your videos, both of your videos, came across the feed and watched them both, thought they were good, commented on them. And then you guys started kind of playing around with a live chat. You guys started doing that and did a chat a couple, 2, 3, 4 times together, maybe more than that. And I was in the audience, with everybody else, with all of you good people, basically. And I pestered and was very persistent about always being there and commenting a lot. And I think you guys got tired of it and said, do you want to be on the chat? And I think that's how it started.
Could have been. It's been hell. I don't even know what color underwear I have on today. Oh, never mind. I'm not wearing any. I'm joking.
Wow.
But I was going to say, I can't remember all that far back, but I just know we've been friends for a long time, and hell, consider your brothers.
Yeah. And KS, I think your story is just about right. It just happened. I mean, that's the way it is. It's like a love affair,
It's meant to be.
It's meant to, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
It's destiny, boys. Destiny. And look how popular we've gotten.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we've got.
Let me correct that. Look how popular KS has gotten.
Oh my God!
And we're kind of just we're riding his coattails.
Right. No. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
West Coast Chicano, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, brother. Really appreciate it. Well, we need to, guys, send in your questions. If you guys have any other questions, Sam Gal saying you met on Tinder. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Swiped. Which way do you not want it? I don't know.
It happened to be. It was 2A night at Tinder, so we just happened to all be congregating.
There you go.
It was actually Farm Animals and Friends. That's where we met.
Oh my God. Oh geez.
So I got a question, KS, because you were on last night and you were kind of bragging to everybody about your AREX Delta that came in today, wasn't not supposed to be?
I've got it right here in front of me.
All right, so I want to fucking see it. Let's see it.
Okay, there it is. The Rex. Okay, Rex Delta. There you can kind of see it. The Rex.
All right.
Delta.
So my first impression on the way that looks, it looks like a Ruger Security 9 a little bit.
Kind of does a little bit, yeah.
And that friggin' that Taurus, that 22 that came out that they came out with.
Or TX 22.
You know what? It actually there's some similarities between those two. I think. Yeah. I give you that.
Initial thoughts without giving us too much.
Okay. Official thoughts. I'm very excited to shoot it. How about that?
It's really not a lot.
It feels good in the hand, and I like the trigger. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
It feels oddly light. I haven't weighed it yet, so I don't know what it weighs as opposed to like a Glock 19 yet. But it feels oddly light. And at first pickup, it did resemble toy-like a little bit. You get some guns, you pick them up and you're like, oh, this feels kind of like a toy. But then now that I've spent a little bit more time with it and started dry firing it and that sort of thing, I can tell it's a gun. It's just light. It's almost oddly light.
Really? Yeah. That's gonna be interesting to see. I when you do the video, not that I'm gonna tell you what to do, you should just see how much it flexes. See if the polymer flexes a lot,
Yeah, that will be interesting to see. Yeah, I like it there. I have one criticism, and I will talk about this because I haven't decided if I'm going to change it before the video or not. But the front sight, and it's blacked out. It's blacked out rears, and it's a front white dot. But the white dot, obviously, I can't shove this enough into that camera. And that camera is not very good. But the white dot sits really far into the sight.
Right.
So when I was sitting in here before we started playing, I was kind of dry firing it a little bit. And if the light hits it the wrong way, that white dot disappears. So it sits really, really deep. And so I thought about, I might throw some nail polish in there, but I try not to do that before the first video because I like for people to see what, you might be getting into. So
I saw the video. They said, I guess it takes XDS sights. XDS.
That may be right. I mean, they're pretty thin dovetails, and that resembles an XDS. I'd buy that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So size wise, what is it compared to?
Well, Glock 19.
Is it bigger, smaller, about the same?
Well, okay. So I've got the M&P 3.6 right now. And so yeah, the M&P is in front, right? So you can see that the M&P is shorter. So I would say it's the length of the 4.0 or a Glock 19 or thereabouts.
What about the grip length?
Grip length. All right, hang on, so people don't freak out.
So a little bit more. Well, maybe about the same.
It's pretty similar.
Yeah,
it's pretty similar.
Interesting.
All right, now I don't have to do a review. You guys have all seen it.
That was
done. All finished.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm really interested in that gun. I don't know yet. It's not really on the radar.
For the money, I mean, because this was not expensive, expensive at all. I mean, it was I don't know, $430 or something like that after shipping or whatever.
Jeez.
So not expensive. And it's 15 rounds, 2 mags. I like some of the things that they've done with the frame. I mean, it's got accelerator cuts and some of that sort of thing that I consider upper tier polymer, I guess, whatever that means. But I don't know. I think it's actually worth giving a look at potentially. Now, if it shoots like dog snot, I'll tell you. But so far, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we don't like shooting dog snot.
Right. Ferrets for Guns is saying, no, we need the review. You'll get the review. Trust me. Because I actually have a lot to say about this, even just in my 2-hour observation about it, just in terms of the fit and finish and everything else. But I've been excited to get this in hand. And it hasn't disappointed yet. Again, it might shoot like crap, or I might shoot it like crap is probably more specific. But I like what I see so far. It only has one notch on the rail. That's a little weird to me on a comp.
Yeah, look at that.
So a little weird.
I guess we'll find out. Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. That's right. Dave Gass, thank you very much. Appreciate it, man. Really appreciate you. Very cool. Killer Coiler is saying, if I remember correctly, it's a gas-filled nylon frame like the Security 9, which is why it's light. That's probably true. I don't know. I'll have to do a little bit more studying.
Maybe it's duct tape and baling wire.
Could be. Yeah.
Let me see here. Somebody asked a question about H&K. Where is it? Something about what would we like to see a H&K come out with, I think was what was asked.
I don't know.
It was here somewhere.
Well, see if you can find it. And while you're finding that, Hurt One has a question. Did anyone hear about the SRO officer's P320 going off in his holster in a school cafeteria? The round hit the wall. Curious to see what the investigation leads to. So an officer's P320 went off in his holster, just went bang without touching it or anything like that. I'd be curious about that.
Wow. I did not hear about that one.
Yeah.
Speaking of SRO, and I know that 17 talked about it, or put the picture up on Instagram.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, and I'm just, Humble and I and other people have kind of been talking about this too. In the competition realm, I think that thing's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, because of the way that it's set up and everything, the only thing is if it's larger on the rear of the gun, depending on where your port is, because the little porpoise front end kind of hangs out over. And if you look at the diagram on it, I don't know if y'all looked at it on Instagram and stuff, but it cannot hang, over the ejection port, of course, because it's going to, it could cause a failure. So you're going to have to move it back a little bit, or you're going to lose your rear sight, and there's no way to piggyback off. Like, the Delta Point Pro, you can add the rear sight onto the Delta Point Pro. So, and you don't have to have a sight for competition, as long as the thing is robust and works correctly, you should be fine. But I honestly think that thing's going to be pretty damn sweet. I mean, for competition.
Yeah, I think it's obviously it's not built the way the other RMRs are built or whatever it is, but the reason why I posted that picture, that had to be the ugliest friggin' thing I've ever seen in my life on that particular gun.
On that gun.
I mean,
I've seen, yeah.
And KS, if you didn't see it, the PX4, Beretta put one of the new SRO optics on a PX4, and it was an abomination.
Yeah, it was hideous. And Humble put up a little meme thing, and I can't remember the name of, it's the dolphins that have the big head on them. It's like a Beulah whale or something.
Beluga, I think.
Beluga, yes. And it's got that big knot. And he put that and he goes, look, I'm new to the optic market, and had the little SRO beside it. And I was like, holy crap, that's exactly what it looks like.
Absolutely.
I mean,
terrible.
It was a really funny meme. But, man, to have a little bit bigger than a Delta Point Pro and clarity and stuff like that, and have a 3-year battery, man, and a top loading battery, because the Delta Point or the RMRs, you got to take them off. So that could be pretty revolutionary for the competition realm. So I don't know. We'll see.
You got any thoughts on that, KS?
Not yet. I'd like to see it firsthand, just to see what it's like. I mean, from what little I know about it, I mean, it does look a little silly, but I want to see it firsthand. It's expensive. People were saying, and somebody left a comment on last night's chat after the fact, that it was like $750. I think Dan O'Neill maybe said something about that, like $750 MSRP. That's a chunk of change.
Yeah, it's MSRP. However, they're already on pre-order sale. A lot of people have already ordered them, people that I know personally, and they got them for $495. So really, it's only, $40 more than the RMR, and it is, of course, more than Delta Point Pro. But man, I mean, shoot, if it does what it says it's going to do, for the competition realm, and everybody's like, oh, it's so huge. I'm not, I don't know how the hell you would carry it. If you're carrying it in an inside waistband holster, it's not like you're carrying your gun outward to where it's going to, bulge out. It's just going to, kind of sit right down in the holster. It's really, if you've looked at the pictures between the SRO and the RMR, it's just a little bit of height and a tad of length. So from a front, holster, it's really not going to, I don't know if I would carry that particular one personally, but I think, putting it on a competition gun, that if that really opens it up a lot, and because I did notice this, and I'll go ahead and let this out. I was going to talk about it, but on the Delta Point Pro, when you shoot, you can watch the dot go up and down, and it doesn't really ever leave the window, under normal, correct, grip. However, on the RMR, since it's shorter, it does. It actually leaves the window and then comes back. So I did notice that shooting the P10F. But it was still manageable. But the Delta Point Pro, and this is a little taller than Delta Point Pro. So honestly, really, really fast shooting, I don't think the dot would ever leave the window. And that's what's really cool about it. If you're tracking, it's going up and down correctly. If you don't have the right grip, it's going to, shoot off to the left and the right and all kinds of crazy spots. But if it's just going up and down, that thing could be literally, for that realm, it could be a game changer. And I know people overuse that term, but it could be pretty awesome.
Might be cool on a rifle.
Yeah.
You know, like a 9mm, a pistol caliber carbine or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. From what I heard, it's not as durable as their other optics. So I don't know, you know, but I heard also that the window's a little bit bigger and it's not as blue. It doesn't have that real blue tint to it.
No tint. Yeah. So
I think you're right on that whole competition thing, man.
Yeah. And, you know, even for like PCC, you know, for the rifle, you know, that kind of stuff, I think it could be really cool. And then I'm sure they're going to have plates for it where you can put them on rifles or whatever you want. But I think it's going to be pretty cool. And like I said, as soon as he gets it in, I'm definitely going to be trying to check that thing out. So, but they don't release until I think next week. And that's when, I don't know if they're going to be shipped into the people that have already pre-ordered them. I meant to the wholesale distributors, or if that's when they're going to be shipping them out from those places. But I'll be definitely interested in seeing how it's going to work.
Cool.
Interesting.
I'm still not 100% sold on red dots though.
Yeah, I understand. I've had a good time with the Holo Sun. It's been good. I have no intention to really carry that. I like iron sights. They're you know, no fuss, no muss, anything like that. But I've enjoyed the red dot for what it is. You know,
I'm liking it. I'm liking it more and more. I put it this way: I'm liking it better on the P10F setup than I am on the Glock setup. But that's just for me. That's nothing against Glock. That's just the angle. You know, I was having to dip it more on the Glock, where this one I'm not having to do that as much. So it sets up better for the eye for me. And I'm actually enjoying it. So, I mean, of course, I'm not a pro at it or anything like that, but I'm kind of adapting to it a lot better.
Cool.
Nice. Hurt One is saying Sage Dynamic uploaded yesterday, so I'll be interested to hear about that, or see it rather.
Well, he did the Arco. He did the new aim point, and I watched that video. It's pretty good.
Nice. We'll check that out.
So I do want to address that question that was asked earlier
From Johnny
Danger about the H&Ks. He asked, what would you like HK to produce in a pistol other than a single stack? So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Big J?
I would, you know, I really like the P30. I like that platform, but I like the better trigger. I forget what's the name of that. You know, they have versions, but what's the
like V1, V3, V2,
yeah.
It's the LEM, like the law enforcement model trigger.
Yeah, I would rather, you know, I would like that to not be the unicorn, to have the better trigger available for everybody. And, you know, like I said, I think HK has really nice guns. You know, I think they're awesome, but as another striker fire, unless, you know, they've done the optic ready, that V-TAC or whatever they came out with, and that didn't do very well. I don't think it was set up correctly, but I would like to see, you know, more of those nicer triggers available on the P30.
What are your thoughts, KS? What would you like to see?
Although it goes totally against the original question, a single stack, that's really all I want to see from. I mean, genuinely, I like their guns. I've had a good experience with them. I would agree. I would prefer the V1 LEM across the board for their P30s, but other people obviously would disagree with that. But I really would like to see a single stack. That's a thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to agree with Dennis Jones. I would like to see a VP9 10mm and a VP9 SK, which I actually like the SKs better in my hand than the full size, but I'd like to see those in a 10mm. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that'd be a popping gun.
Yeah.
We're going to see more of that, though. I think we're going to see more 10mm. Now, some people were talking about a single stack 10mm. I think that's probably overstretching the boundaries a little bit. I could be wrong about that, but I think, yeah, the SK format or bigger, I think that's probably realistic. I mean, the Glock 29, it's the same size as the Glock 30, I think, or thereabouts. That's not a very big gun.
Yeah, but you're talking about, you know, frame flex and stuff. Man,
right.
You're going to have to really, you're going to have to reinforce that frame and that slide and everything, because you will get some serious flex out of a smaller 10mm gun.
I mean, it would be fun probably for the first 5 rounds, and then when it explodes in your hand, it's probably going to be fun after that. But
you know, Joker 3421 is saying, wouldn't that be a VP10?
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, true. Good point. VP10, baby.
VP10, and REB is saying, bring back the P13 HK. I'm not familiar with that one.
I'm going to look it up because I don't know that one either.
Yeah, and you know, and I know that, you know, a lot of people are back on the 10mm train, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, definitely would take a 10 millimeter way over a 40. But I just don't know, because of the price of the ammo, even the defensive ammo or even range ammo for a 10 millimeter, it's harder to find at a lot of places, and it's much more expensive. So I don't know if people are going to train with it like they think they would. And then also, the popularity of the 9, the availability, and the capacity, because you're right there with a 10 millimeter, you have the capacity of a 40 also. So you're going to lose rounds. I just don't think it's going to, I think it right now it's catching a little wave. And if you notice 10 millimeter, it was available, nobody bought it, and then it kind of came up, and then it went down again. And I just don't think it's ever going to be like a 9 millimeter. It just never will.
Right. I know one person who would absolutely disagree with you, and
I know
that's
Alaskan ballistics.
He,
I know
he would absolutely disagree with that.
Yeah, no, he would. But I mean, we're not, walking through the forest, watching out for bears every 5 seconds, even though a lot of, the people are size of bears. But I'm just saying, I would take capacity. And like we've talked about before, it's all about target placement, and if you've got an average person with a 9 millimeter and they're picking off a target, they're going to probably have a better chance against recoil than a 10 millimeter, unless it's an all steel frame. So,
right.
It all counts where you hit it. So got to turn off the bang switch.
Steve Lemieux just checked in, so I want to know, Steve, really quick, how did it go today with that brand new Caracol, my friend? And then I got a question for both of you guys, really quick. What is your one dream gun? Like a gun that you absolutely would just sell a testicle for? Like, what is the gun?
Big J.
I kind of like my boys, but oh man, and I've talked about Barretts and stuff like that before, but like if I had a place to shoot it, it'd be great, but just owning it and saying, yeah, I've got it, that wouldn't be that fun. Let me think on that just a second, because I know that I've got several, I've got a few, but let me think about that for a minute.
So if you'd asked me a while ago, I would have said an MP5. Now I shot one a few weeks ago. Fit and Fire brought one up, and I shot it a little bit, and it didn't have any optic on it. It just had the old school sights that originally came on them. And you guys know I have glasses. That's actually quite a disadvantage when you're trying to get really low on it. And I was talking with another buddy who said I was probably doing it wrong, and I probably should have been getting more up, kind of face right up to the sights rather than further back. But it turned out to be incredibly uncomfortable for me to shoot. So I only shot a magazine through it, and I was done because it was hitting. It was pushing my hearing protection up, and of course at an indoor range that you can't do that. So I would have said that, but I probably would rethink that now. I had the chance to handle one of the STI Combat Masters, the Terran Tactical ones.
Mm-hmm.
That would be on the short list. That was a pretty exceptionally extraordinary gun. I will say, it was beautiful. The racking the slide was, truly just, it was glass. It was all glass. And so that was pretty cool. Something like that would be a lot of fun.
Okay, I would probably say, and it's doable, but not in the format that I want it. But I would want the CZ Bren 2 in 308 auto.
Nice. That's a good choice.
Yeah.
So one of the guns for me that I would love to have, but obviously will never be able to own it for where I live is, and it's not even like the nicest looking thing you've ever seen, but there's something that attracts me to it. And no, it's not the name, but I actually want a Steyr AUG, like really bad.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like that's one that I it's just such an awkward looking contraption that I want to have the experience of shooting one. So that would be the one that I would choose. That one right there.
Nice.
And I have a quick question on that same kind of line. And this, I just want to see if these have ever intrigued you, because trust me, I almost bought one. Then I was like, no. And then I almost bought one again. But the Tavors, they're so freaking cool looking and, all that stuff. And I know the X95 has an okay trigger. It's better than the other one, unless you put the trigger pack in it. But, I've never personally owned a Tavor. I shot one time, but it was only like 5 rounds. It wasn't anything great. But it's just, I just think it's so cool that everything's in such a small,
Right.
compact package. Would you rather have that or just like an AR pistol?
I would like the Tavor, but it goes along the styling of like an AUG. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like there's something about just that whole look to those guns that I like. It's just it's so unordinary that I think that's why I'm so attracted to those guns.
Yeah. What about you, KS?
I don't know. I kind of like AR pistols a fair amount. I think it'd be really fun to try a super high end one, just to see what it's like. But I don't know. I don't know about that yet.
Yeah, because I have the AR pistol and it does the exact same thing that Tavor does. But and of course you'd have to learn a different platform because your mag's at the rear and everything. But there's just something about that look. I don't know what it is, and I like it better than the AUG, the Steyr. So, but I don't know. I just keep going back and forth.
Yeah. I'm having the opportunity to actually test out what was certainly on the short list in terms of dream guns, at least to shoot, at least to try, maybe not to own so much, but I did want to show this. And actually Hurt One mentioned a Wilson EDC 9. And so that's what this is. It is not mine. It's actually Harry from Harry's Holsters. He sent this to me to play around with. And I have to say, it's pretty darn cool. I'm not as big of a fan of the stainless slide. I actually prefer black, but I'm looking forward to trying this out and just seeing what it's like. I mean, it's an interesting firearm. It feels really good in the hand. So I'm excited to try it. So we'll see what this is like.
Yeah, like I was telling you, they just released the EDC 9 5-inch slide, and I think it's got a +2 grip. And I was, I put my hand on that gun when we were at the NRA when he was ordering it, and I was like, oh man, this thing feels really nice. But I was like, I just wish I had a little more grip, a little more length. And now they come out with a freaking 5-inch slide and the longer grip, and I'm just like, ugh, because that gun is pretty awesome.
So as I told Honest Outlaw, when you sent him, what did you send him? I forgot.
The Staccato C.
Yeah, I told him to drag it behind a truck for a few hundred yards to give it a real good test. I would ask you to do the same with Harry's. I think America wants to see it.
Yeah,
so,
torture test.
Torture the shit out of that gun.
Well, I'm actually, it's funny. So I just picked it up 2 hours before this. So all I've done is basically handle it, and that's it. And it is kind of funny. I don't know if you can hear this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's a little click there. So the right side safety, I mean, it works. It's fine, but it's loose. And so I'll have to ask Harry about that, if that's normal or not. But it's interesting, a 1911 without a grip safety. So that's very different. That's a very different thing. So again, it'll be fun to try and see what it's like. I don't have the Staccato C, obviously. It's away right now, but I'll have to kind of think of something to potentially compare it to, depending on how long I can keep it.
And see, that's one thing I really liked about that, not having the grip safety, because a lot of those I can't actuate them very well with my hands. So that's one thing I really loved about that gun.
Yeah,
you didn't have to mess with it. And honestly, you don't need two safeties. I know that that's a tradition for 1911s, but when they came out with that, I was like, man, that's really awesome.
So we did get a question asked a couple of times, and it was about alien gear. And now, of course, I lost the damn question.
Here
it is. What do you all think about the Alien Gear Shapeshift Core Pack?
Go ahead.
Anybody?
Sorry, I was typing. So obviously that's a holster of some sort or another. I'm assuming it's one of those. It's that modular deal of theirs.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of Alien Gear holsters from long before I had the channel or anything. I don't know if it was a version 2 or version 3 or what it was. I don't care for that style of holster. And it's the same thing. I mean, I talked about it when I did that, the hidden hybrid holsters. I mean, those were nice holsters. That's not my style. I don't find those as comfortable as some people do. Some people rant and rave over those. Most of the guys at Centerfire carry, like crossbreed style holsters, what have you. It's not for me so much. So the Alien Gear, it's not my thing. And the modularity, although I appreciate the modularity and I appreciate their price, their cost is pretty low. That's not my thing.
Yeah, and I've played around with one, that was in the box. You can take it apart, and it's kind of like a little Lego set kind of thing. It just really wasn't for me. I tried it on, and I just didn't like any. I didn't really care for it. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think you need that much stuff going on. It's a lot of, and then if you want to change it, you got to, take this off and move that. I mean, I just want to put my gun in it, put it on, and be done.
Yeah, and I guess I will kind of mirror what you guys are saying. When I first started out and I was looking for holsters, I tried Alien Gear. It was good for what it was at that time. The core pack's $100 now, but I guess because it has all those different options to it, it might be worth that. But I like the single Kydex holsters. I like taking those with me if I'm on in a rush and just trying to head out, and I don't want to be bothered with all the fuss. But again, I personally like, for me, I wear black arch holsters probably 90% of the time, just because the weight distribution, the comfort. I've never had any issues with the size of those. They're just big enough to give a good amount of disbursement of the weight of any gun that I've owned with them. But it's whatever you like, man. If you like it, go with it. I personally would not buy Alien Gear. I just wouldn't do that.
Yeah, not my style. And everybody kind of has a different thing. Hurt One is saying, I much prefer hybrid holsters, stealth gears, so on. So much more comfortable to me when you carry all day. Yeah, and I think a lot of that goes back to also your body type and everything. I mean, we're all a little different, and where you distribute weight yourself. And mine seems to be all right in the middle, just my waist, and that's it. And so I'm a little bit more thoughtful about holsters and comfort and all that sort of thing. And I just found, for me, especially with Harry's, and it's not a plug for him by any stretch. I've been using his holsters for whatever, a year and a half or so. They seem to be pretty comfortable, and I am more likely to wear that all day because they seem to sit the right way for me for whatever reason. Right. And so it works well. It was the right match.
Yeah, and for me too. I mean, walking, standing, sitting, bending over, I don't have any issues with those with Harry's. And I carry appendix, and it people carry differently, and you're exactly right. It depends on the way that your body's built, and what works for one person might not work for another person. And that's why, and I know y'all have gone through this. I've gone through this. Any new concealed carrier has gone through this who just first starts. You're going to end up with, unless you just hit a home run right off the bat, you could end up with a box of holsters. I mean, I don't have a box. I have 2 freaking tubs full of different holsters. Now, some were sent in for reviews and stuff like that, but it is. I mean, You just have to find the one that works for you.
Right. And if you have an opportunity, like I would never just have hybrid holsters. I would also have a regular Kydex holster. Mm-hmm. They've all said it. Harry's makes great stuff. Tolster makes great stuff. Mid-Atlantic. I mean, somebody mentioned the price for what you're getting. His holsters are excellent. And I think they were like $20-something. I mean, they're just great stuff out there. So I would never limit yourself to just one type, because you want to have the diversity of carrying. Like some days it's just a hell of a lot easier to go out with this kind of holster. And other days, if I'm going out and I know I'm going to be out for a long time, I want that additional comfort, the weight distribution. So then I go with a hybrid type holster. But everybody's different.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Well, guys, it is getting to be about that time, believe it or not. This has gone by pretty quickly. What final parting thoughts do you have for all of our friends and family?
Well, first I want to say thank you to the friends and family. It means a lot that you ladies and gentlemen join us. We really, really appreciate it. That's what makes all this possible. And I'm going to be shooting the PO9. I'm excited about that. Trying to get the dot dialed in, and probably filming some of that, and got some other stuff coming up. It's not a big, I'm kind of keep it a little secret, but got some other stuff coming up.
Very good. For me, just I haven't gone anywhere. I've just been extremely busy with work. I mean, work has just been incredibly busy, and I just have not had the drive or ambition to really do anything right now. It ebb and flows. YouTube is an ebb and flow for me. So I get the high points, low points. Right now, I'm just I'm taking some time away. I'm not disappearing. I'm probably going to do something hopefully this weekend, but I needed personally to kind of take a step away for a couple of weeks, just to be able to focus on my job, focus on my family, my kids. So that's where I've been, because it's been a little bit of a gap. And the reason why I haven't been on these chats, I just have been working my schedule. The way my schedule is falling, everything's falling on Wednesday, so it's almost impossible for me to get back in time, which was almost the case tonight. Fortunately, I was able to get out in time. So, but I haven't got anywhere. So just keep watching, keep subscribing, and keep enjoying handguns, man. That's what I love.
Nice. Well, you guys, as always, thank you very much for hanging out with us on Wednesday night. We love this. It's so much fun, and all the great ideas and thoughts and everything that you guys have. We learned so much from you, and we really appreciate that. So we will do this all again next week to one degree or another. So everybody stay safe, shoot straight, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time.
Carry on, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night.